Turkey's ruling AK party may be closing in on the absolute majority following today's elections. Prime Minister Davutoglu describes it as a win for democracy. The suspect in the ramming attack today in the West Bank turned himself into the Israeli security forces. And after 3 years, Roger Federer finally beats Rafa Nadal to claim the Basel Open. Good evening and welcome to I-24 News. I'm Jonathan Regev with the latest headlines. With 85% of the votes counted, results from Turkey's parliamentary elections show that President Erdogan's ruling AK party is leading by a large margin with nearly 50% of the vote. It is a clear victory for Erdogan and his party, but it's unclear yet if they have secured the absolute majority. Turkish Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu already described the outcome of the election as a win for democracy. And we're now joined by Arad Nir, the foreign affairs editor at Channel 2 News. Arad, first, thank you for joining us. And second, where is Turkey going if nothing seems to be stopping Erdogan and his AK party?
Well, firstly, Jonathan, good evening, and thank you for having me. As for the results, 98.5% of the results are counted by now, and there is definitely absolute majority for the AKP party, Erdogan's party. This will enable the head of the party, which is not Erdogan, by the way. Erdogan is the president. The prime minister is Davutoglu, and his name was on the ballot. This will enable Davutoglu to form a single-party government and to govern at leisure with without many burdens the Turkish nation. Nevertheless, Erdogan's aim was to secure a majority that will enable him to change the government and become an absolute president with superpowers, let's say Putin-like president. This is not the case. So there's lots of happiness. Prime Minister Davutoglu praised God for the result. Nevertheless, I'm sure that Erdogan is less grateful for the result. And now it remains to be seen what will be Erdogan's next step.
So it will be very interesting to follow Turkey these next few days. Arad Nir, the foreign affairs editor at Channel 2, thank you very much for joining us. Now to the latest on the ramming attack this afternoon near the settlement of Kiryat Arba in the southern West Bank near Hebron. The suspect turned himself in to Israeli security forces and is now being interrogated. 3 border policemen were injured in this incident in the area which has seen most of the violent attacks in the past few days. A short time ago, I spoke to our correspondent Shai Ben-Ari, who's on the scene, about the latest developments.
2 incidents near the entrance to the village of Beit Hanun, slightly to the north of Hebron. The latest, of course, was a vehicular attack which basically rammed into 3 border police officers who were standing there. One is now characterized as medium-grade injuries after earlier being characterized as seriously injured. 2 others lightly injured, though they will be admitted to further examinations to make sure that there are no internal injuries that are not immediately apparent. As you mentioned, a suspect has turned himself in now, several hours after the incident itself, to the civil administration offices in the city of Hebron and has been transferred to interrogation. It is not clear what he has told his interrogators. We'll just mention that over the past few months there have been a series of incidents in this area where you've seen certain incidents which apparently at first appeared to be attacks and later turned out to be accidents. It's not clear exactly what this incident was all about. The police earlier saying this was, of course, a road attack.
Syria's Foreign Minister Walid al-Mualem said today he understood the importance of a statement made by world powers following talks in Vienna seeking an end to the country's civil war. In a joint statement, they called for regional rivals to agree to a nationwide truce and renewed stalked UN broker talks. For his part, Mualem confirmed during a meeting with UN envoy Stefan de Mistura the government's position that the fight against, quote, terrorism must take priority in order for a political solution to be achieved. Iran's supreme leader rejected the idea of foreign countries bartering a deal over Syria's future, saying a pause in fighting and fresh elections are the only solution for the war-torn country. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei also repeated his prohibition on direct talks with the United States over Middle East turmoil, saying U.S. interests in the region conflict with Iranian policy.
Our position towards Syria is firm.
There is no point in other countries getting together and deciding about a system of government and the head of that state. The military and financial support given to rebels must be stopped. This would allow an end to the war and ensure that Syrian people elect whomever they want in a safe and peaceful environment.
A number of airlines are avoiding flying over the Sinai Peninsula as an investigation is underway into the Russian airliner that crashed there yesterday, killing all 225 people on board. In the latest from that investigation, a Russian official said the plane actually broke apart mid-air, supporting the Egyptian claim that a technical fault was the most likely cause and not a terror attack as claimed by the Islamic State. 15 people were killed and 10 injured when Islamic extremists attacked a hotel in the Somali capital of Mogadishu. The I-24 News Desk has more on the story.
At least 15 people were killed in the Somali capital Mogadishu on Sunday when gunmen used a vehicle packed with explosives to blast their way inside a hotel. The Al-Qaeda-linked Shabab claimed responsibility for the dawn attack at the Sahafi Hotel, which is popular with members of parliament, government employees and businessmen. Reports indicate the victims included one MP and General Abdikarim Dagabadan, who led the 2011 operation that drove al-Shabaab out of the capital. African Union troops say they have regained control over the building. Shabab insurgents who are fighting to overthrow the internationally backed government in Mogadishu have carried out a string of attacks on hotels in the capital. The group has frequently used car bombs driven by suicide bombers to break into a complex or a building with gunmen then storming in on foot. The militants have also carried out massive deadly attacks in neighboring countries in recent years. But this week, Somalia President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed called on Shabab fighters to surrender. This amid reports some factions may have shifted allegiance from Al-Qaeda to the Islamic State group after losing territory and having some of their leaders killed by regular U.S. drone strikes. It seems, however, that these recent attacks claimed by the group are meant to challenge claims that they are any close to defeat.
American politics now, and Republican presidential candidate Jeb Bush said he is conflicted over the death penalty and wants to reform how it is enforced. In an interview over the weekend with NBC's Meet the Press, Bush said that although executions can provide closure for families of murder victims, other issues should also be considered.
It's hard for me as a human being to sign the death warrant, to be honest with you. I'm informed by my faith in many things, and this is one of them. So I have to admit I'm conflicted about this. But here's the deal. When you meet people, this happens in rare cases where the death penalty is given out, and you meet family members that have lost a loved one, and it's still in their heart. It's etched in their soul, and this is the way that they get closure. I get more comfortable with it, to be honest with you. But we should reform it. If it's to be used as a deterrent, it has to be reformed. It can't take 25 years. That does no one any good.
Tennis now, and Roger Federer got the better of his old foe Rafa Nadal for the first time in more than 3 years as he won the Basel Open for a 7th time in his career. The Swiss won the match in 3 sets, 6-3, 5-7, and 6-3. His first victory over the Spaniard since the Indian Wells semi-final in 2012, and he's obviously very happy with his 88th career title.
Very satisfying, of course. I mean, you can't beat him if you don't play him, so of course that also goes hand in hand, but regardless, it's always a pleasure playing against him, even if you lose sometimes or many times. It was great playing here against him here in Basel. And of course, getting a win against him, it's very special. So of course, it was a very important day in my career again.
And we will now recap our top story as nearly all of the votes from the Turkey elections are counted. The ruling AK party seems to have an overwhelming absolute majority, and these are live images we're now seeing from the Turkish capital of Ankara, where tens of thousands of supporters of the AK party took to the streets to celebrate their party's major win tonight in the Turkish elections. And that's it for this edition. Don't forget you can watch us anytime on our website at i24news.tv. We're also on Facebook and on Twitter. Thank you for watching.